Hello and welcome to another episode of Industry Celebrities. I'm Kimberly Scott, also known as ThatKimberly, and my guest today is come back for a second interview. So first I must thank him for being so brave.
Well, thank you for being so kind to invite me. Thank you.
Well, you did make our first podcast interview almost, I think, about a year ago. So easy. So, Antoinne, tell the folks what you do and a little bit of your background so we can give them some context.
I help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And you're thinking, well, he must be a realtor. Yeah, see, everybody says they're a realtor.
But
I help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate.
I like the way you put that.
Right? Okay. But I'm here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, about 50 miles south of Denver. Been out here 20 years.
Okay.
And I started my career in radio when I was 16 years old.
That's why you have such a great energy and your rapport, it flows.
So started in radio when I was 16. In my 20s, I got bored with radio for a little bit, got into the television side. I was a reporter and news anchor there. And then shortly after 9/11, I got tired of telling people you're going to die, find out tonight how, at 5. And so I left that and got into the restaurant world for a while. And then about 8-9 years ago, a good friend of mine said, you should look at getting into real estate. I think you have the great personality. You should do this. And so that's where I started my real estate career. I started with a builder. I was the guy sitting in the model home. And back 8-9 years ago, that was when we were giving homes away and more.
Yeah. Oh,
there was nobody buying homes then.
I remember that. And now Colorado is one of the hottest markets, I think, unless you're out, like even if you're in the boonies, I think you can sell that.
Really, the state as well as Texas.
Yeah.
You guys are smoking as well. California, not so much.
That's a whole other conversation for a whole other day, but yes, that's true.
That's a whole hour interview. But anyways, got involved with that. And then I learned the ropes during a bad time, which I think was the best time.
Absolutely. I agree.
Because when you sharpen it during a time where it's not supposed to be good, when it is good, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I got into the resale side about a couple of years ago and loving it. Now I get to sell all the flavors.
That's awesome. And you were now, and not just for context purposes, you were at a different company. You're no longer there, but now you're at a new company. Where are you at now?
Yeah, I'm at, it's called Rocky Peak Homes. It's a small boutique type of company.
Well, that's awesome. That means you can give better customer service is what I always think.
Absolutely. Sometimes when you get too big of a team, in my opinion, this is just my opinion.
That's right.
You can kind of get we're going to talk more about this, but you can kind of get lost in the shuffle as a client. And you don't have a lot of times that personal touch.
Yeah.
And so I think you're going to start seeing, and you are starting to see more real estate companies on this smaller boutique, and that's the best way to describe it, type of feel. It's kind of like, and I'll just give you an example.
But I'm also a double agent. I'm apartment renter. I bought my mom's home and refinanced it so we could get it fixed. So I'm not technically, I am a homeowner, but so I don't know much about the real estate, different big companies out here. So. Yeah,
well, Dutch Brothers is a coffee company.
Okay.
And the reason why I brought this up is they are literally like a Starbucks, but they started organically and they focus heavily on customer service. So you can literally go there one day and they will remember you and they talk to you in the line. So in the drive-through, and they remember your order. Hey, Kimberly, how's everything going? How's the podcast?
Got it.
And they give you that extra little care versus what you would get maybe at another place.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was going with these now more boutique versus the one mega teams. And I get it. They make a lot of money. They're doing well. But no, I feel comfortable being more in that smaller type of team. We still take care of each other. And we also take care of our clients just as well. So
so going from, this is a question I'm always very interested in. When you go from a bigger company to a, boutique or maybe, small to startup size of company, both sides have its pros and cons, obviously, but when it relates to customer service, where do you see the differences?
Well, there's one major difference going back to the customer feel. I'll give you an example. And this is not every single big company out there, but this is what happens. This is where a lot of the customers that I now have felt that this is where they missed the mark. Joe Blow is my realtor. And all of a sudden, I don't hear from Joe Blow because now I have Mary Smith over here who's dealing with another part of the transaction. You're like, well, who's Mary Smith? I'm dealing with Joe Blow. And now Mary Smith has passed on over to Susan. Well, who's this Susan? I was dealing with Mary and now Joe. And then that personal one-on-one is lost because there's so many quote unquote leads that are coming in, you just can't keep up with them. I would much rather, I'm a referral based guy. And I think any business owner in the right mind would much rather have a referral type of business versus just trying to get leads and trying to get leads. And if I can get that one-on-one special approach from the beginning to middle to into the transaction, then I did a portion of my job. And I always say the true relationship always starts after the transaction's over. And that's where a lot of people, well, I sold you your home. I got my commission check and I'm on my way.
See ya.
Versus, oh my gosh, Mary, can you believe it's Christmas? Hey, I'm having a client appreciation party this Christmas. Why don't you invite you and your friends on over?
Thank you for using me to buy your home.
And guess what Mary Smith does? Hey, you know what? My next door neighbor's thinking about selling their home. And the way that you treated us, I want my friends to be treated the same way. Versus just another. I've had so many clients that I go, well, who was your last realtor? What was her name? And that's what I don't want for my clients. So.
Absolutely. And that is marketing word of mouth, kind of old school, but yet it's not, because today word of mouth, whether it's online from a review site or telling your friend, there was a stat a long time ago, I don't even know what it is anymore, but people tend, when they have a bad experience, to tell 10 people or way more people than they do when they have a good experience. So I feel, especially in that, service industry world, as realtors are, that if they're not doing their job and they're not treating their people, their customers or clients the way they want to be treated, then that individual, that customer, is not going to tell anybody else about it. But they might, for me, I don't want to refer somebody that didn't take care of me. I'm not going to refer them to a friend. You know what I mean?
Well, think about, totally. Think about this. I know at least one time in your life, or human beings, you've had a bad experience. I couldn't wait to tell my friends. I'm like, you will never guess what happened to me. I was sitting there and there were servers walking past me for 30 minutes and nobody said hi. I would never go there. Don't go there. Right. And, if I have a great experience, I also tell my friends, but I'm more apt when you have that bad experience because you need a release. And you want to actually protect people that you care about. Hey, I just want to give you a heads up. I went there and it was horrible. Right. So,
yes,
and
100%.
When I talked about this, and this is last time you and I spoke, I would much rather, if I have a fantastic meal and have horrible service, I will never go back. But if I have okay food and over the top service, I keep coming back for more. Think about that. You had a great, phenomenal meal and the service was just horrible. I remember the meal or the service. I don't know. For me, that's how I kind of look. And that's why I think service is key.
Oh yeah, I agree. I'm just trying to think of, if the food's great, I'm going to order to go.
Could be Grubhub. I don't know if you have Grubhub out there, right?
Yeah, we do. But I just don't prefer the fee. So I just rather go send my boyfriend or go myself to go get the food and bring it back home because, we're both from the restaurant industry. So we're very picky about customer service. And we understand, but when they don't, like, for instance, I remember an establishment a while back that I will never go to again. And they're all over the United States because there was a table with servers that were, and it's like 10, but it was still open because they didn't close till 12 at night, because we never go into a place that's 30 minutes. Don't go into a restaurant, people, that 30 minutes before they close. They really don't want you in there. I promise you. But
speaking of experience, right? We're like, oh gosh, I just want to go home.
Correct. But we sat down at a bar top, because we knew that it was quicker and easier, whatever. We couldn't even get anybody to acknowledge us. And it's not like nobody was in the weeds. That's a term for very busy for those who are not from the restaurant business. We
We
couldn't
are
even get
from
anybody.
Colorado. You got to watch out when you say that.
Oh, not smoking weed, but in the weeds. So they were all at a table, and this was in Florida. And we couldn't even get anybody to acknowledge us and say, we'll be right with you. Sat there for 10 minutes. It probably was less time, but I was just irritated. It was after work. We were tired. All we want was to have a drink, get an appetizer and go home. They would have been easy money, and we would have tipped them, 20 to 50% because that's where we come from. And then I walked up to the manager because I don't believe in this whole, I just don't tip on, we didn't even wait to order first, but I don't believe in, even if you have bad service, in not tipping the waiter. I believe in telling the manager, hey, look, this happened. And not because I want anything, but because either the server had a bad day and they need to know that was reflected, or two, they need to go find another job. So, but this was so awful that I walked up to the manager, or asked somebody that was at that table, can I speak to your manager? Told the manager, hey, this is what happens. And was like, hey, I just want to let you know, because I come from that side. I was also a manager at one time, but we will never return. We live down the street from this establishment. We will never come back here again. And I will tell all my neighbors that this is the worst place and with the worst service, and they were just kind of baffled. They tried to do nothing to, hey, can we change that? She was just like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I was like, okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
Really?
And left. Yeah. So to this day, and that was almost like 10, 15 years, never again would I go, like I go only if my mother wants to go. And that's, I try to avoid.
Well, it's funny to the point here. Just a moment ago, I had a great breakfast, local place down the street here. And I always talk to people. I'm a people person.
Yeah.
I struck up a conversation with a lovely person. Her and her husband, they're moving down to Texas, ironically enough. And so one thing led to another. And she said, I found this home on Zillow. It was a for sale by owner. She was selling it for $579. I knocked on her door, and I got it for $350,000. I go, oh my goodness! I said, that's awesome, right? So the realtor that she was kind of working with showed her like a 1 or 2 homes, didn't sign anything with them, called her up and said, I am completely disappointed in you, and I can't believe you did this. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, here's the customer service drop the ball moment. I would personally, and this has happened to me, where I don't take it personally. I'm like, congratulations. Hey, if you need a general contractor, I know tons of them, plumbers, electricians. I know you're going to be redoing this house. Anything that you need in the future, let me know. Welcome to Texas.
Yeah.
And she goes, I will never refer him to anybody I meet down here.
Yeah.
She said, but if she took that approach to me, I would have felt a little bad that maybe we didn't use him. But I'm definitely going to make sure that we'll make it up to him by referring his services
Correct.
to him.
Kill him with some kindness, and you will definitely get that deal.
Not about you.
Correct.
Not about you. It's about them. So
yeah,
totally
absolutely.
Get it, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I had a conversation with a friend the other day about them pitching some business. And then the owner said, no, we're not going to go that direction. And he said, okay, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. Can you give me some feedback so I just know why, and that he gave it to him. And he was like, okay, they were thinking they were going to bring the service in house or whatever. And he's like, okay, I appreciate it. And because he handled it so well, 6 months later, he heard from that owner, and they're gonna use his service because they figured out they couldn't do it in-house. So instead of being mad, ask for some feedback, and maybe you might get a refer. Like with no expectation and not taking it personally are the two keys, and having some empathy along the way with it. You definitely will get something good out of it, whether it's business, a referral, a friend, not a negative rating on whatever review site they might blast you on. But, so I agree.
To our point, and it's so funny, I literally wrote this down this morning. I heard it this morning, and I put it on my phone. I'll put it on my Facebook probably tomorrow. Bring your seed, not your need, to the marketplace. I went,
That's a good one. I like that.
Bring your seed, not your need. And it's not about you.
Yeah.
Bring your seed to help somebody else out. Plant that seed and watch it flourish. If you come to the marketplace with, what is in it for me? What kind of tip can I get? Oh, I'm probably going to get $5 on here. You're probably right. That's because you're putting yourself in place. And that was by Jim Rohn, by the way. I'm a huge personal growth guy, as you know. But yeah, I mean, I heard that and I thought, this is what a perfect saying that I wrote down this morning, that it perfectly what we're talking about here.
Well, I'm a huge Gary Vee fan, and he gives all kinds of advice, and his is always give without expectation. And when I started following that and not taking things personally when whatever was I thought wanted to come out of it, and I just said, I'm going to give, it doesn't matter what's going to happen. I felt way better, stayed way happier all the time. And it just opened up the doors for other things that I never even thought of, like it was
Right.
just random stuff. And so it is something, especially in marketing, like from, what you do, which by the way, I have to give you kudos from, a year ago, connecting with you on Instagram. My point is, you've done a great job on Facebook since we especially connected on Facebook. Finally, I don't see as much of your Instagram, but you're doing a lot more on Facebook, with video and lives. Tell me about that. Like, why did you start? Because I know that's a struggle for my friends that are realtors here in Texas to juggle all of it. Like, how do you manage that?
Well, there's a couple of things. First and foremost, you and I were talking about this before you hit record on here, that, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when you were very successful in the real estate world, as an example, you were able to afford billboards and commercials and, radio ads and all that fun stuff. And the agents that really didn't have that kind of money would sit back and go, oh, geez, it must be nice. I wish I had made that kind of money because I would advertise too.
Yeah.
Now we have this at our fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
We have access to millions, if not billions of people for free.
Mm-hmm.
And all I have to do is go, boom, hit record. Now, granted, there's a lot more that goes on after you record it, but here it is. When I did my first live, and I came from a media background, I was so nervous, I thought I was going to throw up. I'm not joking. I'm like, oh my gosh, here I go. But here's the interesting thing. And then I talk myself down because I go, if I am consistent, this is another problem a lot of people don't have. I only got one like.
Oh gosh.
I was consistent. And I have a Monday morning message. And I'm your Colorado real estate agent. And guess what? I'm not here to talk about real estate. I'm here to talk about something that I've either implemented in my life, my business, may or may not help you. Here's my 2 minutes. Have a great day. I'm your Colorado real estate agent, Antoinne Glover. We'll see you next Monday.
Yeah.
Something
That's awesome.
Simple, sweet, to the point. And so I started figuring out when I got scared, I'm like, that was the dumbest thing. I sounded stupid. Oh my gosh, I was sweating.
I liked it. And I always comment on it because I know it's not about the likes. It's about the comments, the engagement, and the shares. I'm trying to teach people that it's not about the hearts and the likes anymore. It's about how many people engage with you. And when I say it's about, like, the algorithm pays attention to that. The algorithm, that's why you started showing up more in my feed and probably in my friends' feeds, because I commented on it or I shared it. Like, that's the key, is comments and shares. No more likes. It's because likes can be bought, is the point, Right. Shares and comments from authentic connections and community is the point. So I definitely commend that you do that, and that you already know about the consistency. I, in podcasting, decided I wanted to start doing live videos, but I realized that as my tone has gotten slower and I stopped saying as my niece has told me, because she does my editing, when I was live, my nervous tick of came back and I blink really uncomfortably. And I never knew that that's why it occurs, is because, but then when I did another live and when I'm with my boyfriend and I do a craft beer tasting thing, he's teaching me about craft beer. With him, it just flows. It's just easy. It's no problem. I don't have that nervous tick. It's that calming energy, and I notice that when I do interviews with people, whether it's video or a live, if they have good rapport with me and their energy is calm, my energy is calm. But when there's nobody else with me, I have to talk myself down so that I don't blink a lot. But it doesn't matter because I will get better at it. I'm okay with it. Yeah. So that was something it's shocking to hear somebody who comes from the television media background to still have that nervousness, but everybody gets it. It's good that you would say it because everybody gets it.
Think about this.
But you got to get over it too. You did.
I don't like how I sound. Have you ever heard of that? Oh,
Yes.
I don't like how I sound. And I go, if you don't like how you sound, your clients don't like how you sound.
That's not nice, and that's not true.
But here it is. You know what this is what I have always done, and I think it's very helpful. When I do read, I read aloud.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's
and so
helpful.
I purposely read aloud, and I hear my tonality.
Yes.
And my pauses.
That's a good tip.
I think it's a great tip for all your listeners out there. If you read
out loud,
read out loud. If you don't read, do a little script of something and record it, and then listen to yourself and go, gosh, I sound really like I'm going really fast. Slow it down.
Yeah.
Okay. I can barely hear myself. Turn it up a little bit.
Yeah. Speak up. Yeah. Your inflection, your excitement, like if you bring energy, it will definitely bring the energy, and your audience will be attracted to that. I hear that all the time. I did not like the way I sounded, but that was like in voice recording, like when I'm on my phone or whatever. It took someone else telling me, hey, you have a really good voice. And then I would hear it again. And then I would hear it again. When I just stopped putting that in my head, and it wasn't because anybody ever told me I sounded bad or anything. It was my own insecurity that I had to get past. And even when it came to the blinkings,
we all have it.
Yeah, everybody has it. The most beautiful people I've ever met are the most insecure, unfortunately.
And I tell you what, when I was in radio, I'd listen to my air check tapes, and I would go, "Oh my gosh, that was god awful. Why? Oh my gosh!" And then I'd have friends that go, "Well, you sounded great." And I go, "No, I didn't. No, I didn't say that." And we are our own worst critics.
Absolutely.
Going back to consistency too, and this is something I think you really need to think about and why it's important to be consistent. A, it's branding. Okay. B, even if you were completely horrible on your first, second, third, fourth one, think about this. Or maybe your 32nd one. Do you think somebody, after you do 100 of them, are going, "Well, man, you're really good now, but on your 32nd one, you were," they're not even remembering you.
Yeah, they're not paying attention. I mean, they start paying attention. So I started doing more lives with my boyfriend. I'll throw in a live by myself every now and then. But the organic reach for Facebook and their lives is enormous. And they want, because they're in competition with YouTube, of course.
Right.
But they want those lives. Live is key. And if you can get on live, well, one, it makes your content process easier because, again, people, an audio file starts with a recorded either video, radio, television, whatever, an audio file. A podcast is only an audio file that you then put on a platform that you can then hear, like iTunes, Spotify, Alexa, that you can then go and download to hear. You know, I still feel the word podcast throws people off when you say, "I'm going to record it, video record it." And they go, "Huh?" You know? So if you do a live, then you on your business page, get those analytics and you can figure out what people are wanting to see. If you get them to engage, there are some tricks that you need to be asking questions. I shouldn't say tricks, but what I was taught and what Gary Vee always speaks about is make content for your listeners and your audience by asking them questions. Don't just make it because you want to see it. Like if you do something and be consistent is the other thing I learned from this other woman. But because you showed up every Monday and did your 2 minutes, you know, maybe now stepping it up is asking questions that will get that engagement. And you might not get me engaged in the first, but I think that now people are seeing it. I'll ask a question, you know, if you want me to, because I see it come up every time when you do a live. And it's not because I'm like actively waiting for it, but because it shows up in my feed. And so I will show you how to make sure that they come to watch it, because if you advertise in the beginning by posting, "Hey, this week I'm going to be doing X, Y, and Z," that's the way to, when you're promoting your Facebook, but your LinkedIn and your Instagram, that's how you cross promote to get people to come back to, you know, wherever you want them to go, like your Facebook Live. So it's definitely something that more people should be getting comfortable with if they have a business. Realtors, especially my friends, I'm trying to coach into saying, "Hey, come on, I'll help you with it." You know, like I needed, you know, a little bit of help with it as well. You know, luckily my boyfriend and I have a really good rapport with each other, but not everybody has that. Like you came from media and you were blessed with, even though you yourself said that you were nervous, you got over it and you did it. But if people who were not even coming from the media background, they would just talk about what they know and they slow down and they don't worry about likes and if anybody watched it, they would get so much out of it. And then their organic reach on their Facebook page then grows, and then you can cut up that content to do other things with it. So that's what I learned from Mr. Gary V, but I'm executing on it. I'm doing my best to do what I can with what I can, and then share that knowledge with others, because more people need to be doing those things to promote themselves or their business or whatever it is, whatever organization, whatever they're doing.
And people are watching.
Yeah.
I mean, you start seeing the views, and then you're going out and about and say, hey, Antoinne, I saw your Monday morning message last week. Hey, that was a great message. Thank you. Watched it with my daughter.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
totally awesome.
Yep.
You know, just maybe some interesting ways of maybe breaking the ice. So you're not go, hey, I'm all by myself and I talk about real estate and, you know, all this. You can talk about real estate with an interview. Give you an example. What about your local mayor? He or she is always going to want to love great times. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Mayor, with the influx of people coming into Colorado Springs, as an example, I'd like to see and pick your brain on a Facebook Live or a recording that, you know, what does this mean for Colorado Springs? Tell me a little bit more about that. Verbal tennis. And then it breaks it up. And then all of a sudden, you're starting to brand yourself as the realtor with a touch on the city. You're sitting down with the school district superintendent. Hey, what's going on with this new school? What does that mean for us? Yep. Oh my gosh. I mean, this.
That is a shout out for my girlfriend Joni and my girlfriend Veronica, who are realtors, and they need to be doing this. Follow Antoine because he's got this down. Everybody else too, but
everybody has a city council member.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So, I found that when I started interviewing people, you know, how I did my interviews before, that when I cross promoted, I started meeting more people outside of my industry. And then the people in my industry started seeing it as well. And then when I would see them at conferences or meetings, oh, hey, what's going on? I see that. I was like, yeah, if you want to, anytime you want, here's my email. You send me an email and, you know, I'll get you on. It's free. It's not a nonprofit, because I was advised against doing a nonprofit, because ideally I wanted to be able to do stories of caregivers, which I'm doing now, but I still do industry celebrities, because I get more people asking now that I don't know, or my friends in my industry who now it's starting to show up. People are starting to talk about it. And when they ask, I say, here's my card. Send me an email. If you want to do this, you send me an email, because it's not for profit. It's something that I love to do, that I want to give back. It definitely makes me excited, you know, to do these things, to talk about. And every caregiver story that I've done, they're all authors. And I tell them, do audio, do a podcast. Well, I'm not sure. Here's Anchor FM, then Zoom. Like, I will send you the deck. It's easy. Go to Google Gary V 86 page content. That's a little more complicated, but it breaks it down to the T, because half the people won't do it. And the other half, all you got to do is just pick one and try it. You know, how are you going to know unless you try?
Right. I was talking to some personal trainers at the Lifetime Fitness where I work out. And I said, hey, when was the last time you actually did a video for your clients? And they're like, what? Hey, Mary, how you doing? I just want to congratulate you on your success. Hey, by the way, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. I know you're enjoying your results. Do you know anybody else that would like the same results that you're seeing? Hey, I can't wait to see you tomorrow, the whole 9 yards. And she goes, oh my gosh. And I go, I'm not a personal trainer. Yeah. But start from somewhere. And then maybe start doing a weekly, you know, hey, this is our weekly workout tip of the week, or a Saturday morning walk and talk. Yes. I don't know. But do something in your field and just start out like you were saying. Start out something really small where it's like, oh my gosh, okay, that was the longest 10 seconds I've been my whole life. Okay, I'll do it again.
Baby steps.
Wait a minute. That wasn't too bad. Oh, I can kind of do this. And we were talking about it earlier, that a lot of times we psych ourselves out and lie to ourselves and say, oh, I just don't have the time. No, you do. Do you have 30 seconds to hit record? Yeah. And if nobody even sees it until maybe one client. Yeah. And so many times when you do that, they're like, Oh my gosh. Hey, I see it's your birthday. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, Kimberly.
Absolutely.
Hope you're doing well. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. I believe caring is sharing. That's my thing. I think that knowledge is power. And so many people helped me along the way. You know, they mentored me without thinking that they were mentoring me. They asked a question and they led me in the right direction. So I feel that's paying it back, paying it forward. And there's an abundance in the world. Like I'm not a person that believes that I'm going to hoard everything because nobody else needs to have it. I believe that there's an abundance and there's enough for everybody out there. When people talk about podcasting, automatically go, are you going to monetize it? I was like, no, because you have to have started podcasting back in 1980 when it started to have a huge following, unless you're Jay Shetty, who was a monk and started in 2015 and has the #1 mindful podcast, which he's amazing. But like even Gary Vee and some of these Maria Folio, like all these people,
right,
that they started 10, 20, or 10, 15 years ago, and they started and nobody was even listening. Like Gary Vee talks about how he did his wine library for 3 years and
right.
nobody watched. For 3 years, nobody watched. And now he gets paid a buttload of money to speak and has written 5 books and doesn't even read, books.
Well,
he's a businessman. He just consistency.
It's so funny that you're talking about this because so many people want so much more out of life.
Yeah.
Then you give them the recipe and they go, well, I have to wait how long for it to cook?
That's a good one.
Right?
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
We want to microwave it, right? Mm-hmm. And we look at Gary Vee and we're like, oh man, that must have been nice. You came from, no, if you really listen to a story,
mm-hmm.
You listen to Tony Robbins' story, you listen to Les Brown's story,
mm-hmm.
you listen to Oprah Winfrey's story.
Oh my gosh. Oprah's is amazing. It is amazing. And all of them talk about there's no hacks. It's hard. It's consistency. It's getting back out there. I heard a quote a long time ago. It's not about the number of times that you fail, about the number of times that you get back up to even get to succeed. If you don't get back up to move forward, you're not going to succeed. The most successful people, it wasn't overnight. It took many years. It took a lot of heartache. It took many fails for them to be where they're at. They just don't focus on the past. They move forward.
Right. 100% of the time. So the real key to success, and here it is, it's not saying it's going to take you 20 years. It could take you 20 years. I don't know. But what I do know is don't try to reinvent the wheel to fit your comfort zone.
Yeah.
If it's comfortable, you will never grow.
Absolutely.
If it's uncomfortable, that means you're growing. Mm-hmm. And so take what they've already done, the recipe, and then implement it. Correct. And just keep going. And there's people that have done it, whatever it is, and huge success in a couple, 2, 3, 4 years. Right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's taken a lot longer. They didn't have the internet then. So of course it took Tony Robbins and Les Brown and all them a lot longer to be acknowledged for their great success. So just know that in any endeavor, you're not stuck. As Jim Rohn says, you're not a tree. Yeah. You can always move, and then always find out where do you want to be and who is doing it, right? Kimberly, you're doing it. How is she doing it? Email her. Hey, what are you doing? I'm just not getting the following that I'm liking. How are you doing it?
Yeah.
And I guarantee without dropping a beat, she will write you back and go, I'm doing this, and that. Hey, if you ever want to sit and talk on the phone or, email back and forth, I'd love to sit and help you in whatever endeavor that you're looking to excel at.
I think if you ask, like I am definitely that person that responds. Not everybody responds, but that doesn't mean, but you still have to ask at least, 100 people or take the referral. Like you're saying this, call Kimberly because she'll do it. If somebody calls me and says, hey, such and such called me, referred me, I take the time because that was either my friend, a business acquaintance, whatever, that knows me and said, hey, I'm vouching for her and I think she has what you're looking for, can guide you in that direction, then I'm going to stop. And, and even if the next person that you asked isn't that person, there'll be another person. Just keep asking and then execute. Gary Vee says he puts out that 86-page deck and gives his best ideas, puts them out because 99% people won't even do anything with them. And I've heard that more times than not when people talk about their secrets. It's really not secrets. They tell people what they're doing and 99% of the people are not even going to do anything with it.
Absolutely. I can't even count how many people that have said, okay, Antoine, I'm ready. Tell me what I need to do. And I go, here you go. Well, I tried it for a week, right? I'll tell you exactly what I did. This is while I was studying for my test.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of a nerd like this, but you start thinking when you really want something bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
So in the restaurant world, I wasn't barely making any money.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did while I was studying for my license, I would pick a neighborhood. And every Sunday, I would drive around the neighborhood and I would watch two things. I would I'd write out all the realtors that had their signs up. I would cross off when it would say price reduction, price reduction. I'm like, nope. And then I would write down the names that said under contract, under contract, under contract. Then I picked up the phone and said, hey, Bobby Price, you don't know me. My name is Antoinne Glover. I'm about to get into the real estate world. Can I pick your brain for about 10 minutes and I'll buy you a cup of coffee at Starbucks, and just to kind of get the pitfalls to avoid in real estate? 100% of these top-notch agents said, sure, absolutely. And 10 minutes turned into 30 minutes, and a plethora of information that got me mentally prepared for the real estate world that was coming my way. And going back to, it's just going what we were talking about there, that sometimes maybe we do get a little bit intimidated because somebody is like, oh my goodness. And now it's so funny that we're the people that I was like, oh my gosh, they're way up there, we're right here.
Yeah.
And
they put their pants on just like you do.
Totally.
We all get up in the morning and we start with our right leg and then we start with our left leg,
right.
Nothing to be worried about. It's okay. It'll be all right.
Absolutely.
Right?
Going back to what you were saying is ask. Just ask who's doing it. Quit trying to reinvent. If you really, really want it, whatever it is, you got to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If you're going to be scared, and you haven't been to the gym ever or in 10 years, and you're scared you're going to get sore, well, guess what? It's going to be a little uncomfortable.
It's going to happen.
But if you do it and do it and do it, and before you know it, before you even recognize it, people that know you say, there's something different about you.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, well, you're looking great. And you go, yeah, it's starting to work. Now you start thinking the same way in your own profession.
Yeah.
You keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. You're like, I'm not seeing the results. I'm not seeing the results. And all of a sudden somebody says, there's something different about you.
Yeah.
And you go, they're seeing it. It's working. It takes that process.
Yeah. And if worst case scenario, like I say, I learned, I'm a fan of Gary Vee. He told this kid once, Google is your mother. Google is your mother. I mean, really, Google it. You can learn anything on YouTube in a heartbeat. Like if you take the time to watch it. Like, I got my outline from Gary Vee, and then I watched tons of podcasters' videos about mics and equipment. And one of my first interviews she was the head of our Texas Apartment Association last year. And my mic setup was awful. Everything was like, it was not what it is now, but it took that and her because she knew me, she was comfortable with my flailing everywhere. We weren't on video, we were just audio, but it has come so far. And it was because each time I listened to it, I got the feedback from whoever listened to it, and then I would take another step. But I watched tons of videos, research, and find people that will tell you, what they did. It's because it's not going to be exactly the same. I'm a different person than you or, Gary Vee or whoever's doing these. I met a very nice young lady, Heather Parody, that I interviewed, and she interviewed me, and it's all different, and there's an abundance out there for everyone. Like, you're giving tips to realtors because you're like, hey, come on, folks, let me show you how to do this, because
Absolutely.
Their struggles. So
I totally get it. And literally, it's kind of irony. And it's a selfish way of thinking. And it's a Zig Ziglar line, and it's 100% true.
I love Zig Ziglar.
If I want anything, whatever I want, I need to give.
Yeah.
And it's such a hard thing for people to understand, especially when you were like, man, I can barely have enough. And I get it because I've been there.
So say it again, Zig Ziglar's quote.
Zig Ziglar is, help enough people get what they want, and you'll get everything that you want.
That's awesome.
It's 100% true. Just give
Absolutely.
them what they want. In real estate, right? I'm not going out there. You're looking to buy or sell real estate. Don't be that weirdo. Go out there for problems.
Yeah.
We are problem solvers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a business endeavor, right? Because they may not be looking for someone to buy or sell or invest in real estate. They may be looking for a general contractor. I got the best person for you.
Yeah.
They may be looking for a plumber. Be that person that says, you know what? You may know a chiropractor. Gosh, I hurt my back. Hey, I got the best person for you.
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let them know
100%.
that I sent you. And really trying to figure out what is the problem. I'll give you an example. The lady I talked to today, right? And I was thinking about this. I was like, it's kind of pat on my back. So the lady I talked to today, her family, they're moving to Texas, but they need to sell their home here in Colorado Springs. And so I said, by the way, she asked me if I was in real estate. And I said, yeah. And I said, hey, are you still looking for a realtor to sell it? She goes, no. I have a really good friend from the military who's now a realtor. He's going to sell my home. And I go, well, that's interesting. Where's your home located? She told me where her home was located. I go, I actually may have a buyer for that. She goes, really? Absolutely. How many people would just have stopped there and went, okay, they already have a realtor, versus, no, I may actually have a buyer for you.
Yeah,
let's see what we can do to work. Let's get to work together. She just texted me and said, hey, listen, thank you for the conversation. My realtor is going to reach out to you and see what we can do to make this work.
Awesome.
But,
yeah.
And it's not to be braggadocious at all.
It's the point. It's the point of give without expectation and helping others.
Right. And my giving is what is her problem? They need to sell their home, right? It's not on the market yet. So what if I was able to help her problem without even putting it on the market? It's a perfect match. I did my part.
Yeah.
So I can take care of my buyers. I took care of now a new friend who's a seller. I took care of her agent and his family financially. And now I get to feed my dogs.
Yeah.
Which
is very, very important.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I feel like I know that we could talk all day. We'll definitely come back for some more topics because I feel like there's so much synergy here, especially I need some, knowledge, some assistance in how to get my house refinanced, which will be a podcast for another day. But yeah, so I do appreciate you sharing your stories because that's what it takes is for anybody to talk about what they know and that's their experiences that then will help other people, then comes back to you because just in an organic, serendipitous way, it all works out, and so I think that's awesome that you definitely have the same mindset because that's what it takes to one, stay happy and two, be successful at whatever you want to do, and success is different for everybody. For me, it's just to be happy. I just want to wake up each day and be happy at what I do. And I feel God, the universe will take care of the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be rewarded. And I jokingly, but I'm serious about it at the same time. And I catch people off this and I'll kind of leave you with this, that, I want to become a multimillionaire, not for the money. I want to become a multimillionaire because I found a way to help multi-millions of people. That for me, that is how I define success. But how many people can I reach? And the more money that I can make by doing that, I can reach even more people.
Absolutely.
And so don't look at money as, the evil. No. What is the intent of that? And how do you want to leave this legacy that we have? I've said this before, that if we're lucky, we live 10 years, 8 times. I'm 44. I'm halfway done. It's not scary.
Yeah.
It's actually exciting because that means I want to see what else can I do?
Yeah.
Can I do one more rep? Can I help one more person?
Yeah.
Can I just reach another one?
Yeah.
And for me, it's an exciting part of my life when you switch the way that you think, realize that it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's all about them.
Yeah.
And then God will reward you in mysterious ways, my friend.
Absolutely. And success is different to everybody. So absolutely. Totally. So it's not, whatever it is for you makes that. I definitely agree with that point, but giving the way that you do and you connect with other people, like it spreads that joy, that happiness, that energy. And people remember that because that's how you made them feel. People always remember. I know there's a quote, I don't know who said the quote originally, but that people won't remember your name, but they're always going to remember how you made them feel.
Right.
And that resonates with me because I have a easier time connecting with people that made me feel good. And in return, I did the same thing for them. They remember me. So it definitely is a good mindset to be in on both sides for sure. So
Absolutely. And when I look at people that I don't know, with that saying, a stranger is just a friend you have not met yet.
I like that.
And that pretty much is it. And you were just a stranger at one time, but you were just a friend that I had yet to meet.
Absolutely.
And now I feel blessed that our paths have crossed. I don't believe in coincidences. I
agree.
believe things happen for a reason.
Absolutely.
I don't believe in good experiences or bad experiences. I just look at life as an experience.
Absolutely.
And
100%.
what did you learn from that experience? And
Absolutely.
I learned from you.
And I learned from you.
What a true great friend truly means.
Awesome.
And as my dad used to say, if you're lucky, if you can count your friends on one hand, you're a lucky man or a woman.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say, no BS, you're on this hand right here.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, with that end in mind, I definitely want to say thank you again, Antoinne. And if Mr. Glover's advice, direction, our little verbal tennis match here, you found valuable, please send it to a friend or let us know what you thought, even maybe tag a friend in the comments. And remember, until next week, sharing is caring. Thanks, Antoinne. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.